Denji finally revealed his identity that he is Chainsaw Man to Aza as they both finally meet for the first time, but things didn't really go well, and it's not how things didn't go well as you suspected. It's just the fact that Aza, she can't really stand Denji because Denji is somewhat of a disgusting pig. And as Denji, he's tried to convince Aza that he is Chainsaw Man, and it just epically failed because Aza don't believe that Chainsaw Man is actually Denji, and we actually get a reveal on why she hates Chainsaw Man, why the War Devil actually hates Chainsaw Man, and we get all of this in this chapter. But we finally are able to see they finally are able to meet up Denji and Aza, and it's going to be an interesting dynamic because things are speed rolling to see what's going to be the outcome between Denji, Chainsaw Man versus Aza, and the War Devil. So we start off with the chapter as we see the War Devil is upset because she has been saved by the Chainsaw Man. So she's yelling through her pillow as she's screaming. But then Aza, she goes ahead and asks her like, hey, why don't you try to get some sleep? But the War Devil, she is too pissed off and has so much hatred that the fact that the Chainsaw Man was right there, but she has gotten saved by him. So Aza asks the $1,000,000 question that we all has been wondering: why do you hate the Chainsaw Man? And what's the beef between you guys? So the War Devil explained to her that him and Chainsaw Man actually got into a fight. And by the time they were fighting, she actually killed him multiple times, but the Chainsaw Man actually got back up and then eventually defeated her. And then slowly but surely, when she was waking up, she realized that the Chainsaw Man was eating the body of the War Devil. And then at the time she escaped, and slowly but surely, thanks to that result of their battle and that the Chainsaw Man has eaten her body, the War Devil has actually become weaker, and people tend to forget about wars besides video games and actually mangas. And since that effect has actually happened in the Chainsaw Man universe, there hasn't been any single war. So that means that since the Chainsaw Man has eaten parts of her, which also explains the Chainsaw Man's ability from the previous arcs, that the Chainsaw Man, once he eats a devil, people will forget the things that the devil represents. So if there's a Nazi devil and the Chainsaw Man defeat the Nazi devil and eats the Nazi devil, people will forget that Nazis even exist. Or just for an instance, like a roach devil, if the Chainsaw Man eats the roach devil, then people will forget about cockroaches. So it's kind of like that. So what happened was that when the Chainsaw Man was actually beating and ate priests of the War Devil, people forget to have wars. There hasn't been a single war for so long. And if the Chainsaw Man, he only ate parts of her, so the concept of war, it still exists, but it only exists in entertainment value, but not in the actual real world. So the War Devil, her beef with the Chainsaw Man is that since there hasn't been any single war, she is became weaker. So now if people start having war, she'll become actually stronger. And so now she is betting her whole entire life wanting to defeat the Chainsaw Man, because when she defeats the Chainsaw Man, she become more powerful, and she will also get like her army and her squad, like the nuclear weapon devil as well. So the whole time as the War Devil, she is like having a fit and everything else. Aza asks her, are you afraid to be forgotten? And the War Devil is just like, girl, please, I ain't afraid to be forgotten. But then Aza, she's thinking later in the night that how she didn't really care about dying. But then later on that things changed, and she was like, thanks to the Chainsaw Man. The Chainsaw Man that she actually hates, she's actually thanking her to actually have a new lease on life. And so after that, the whole chapter just shifted into Denji, as Denji continued being a simp, but he's being a simp for money because he's getting paid while he's being a simp. Because Denji, he's becoming a chair for a girl. And so the girl, she pays him a certain amount of money so that way he could pretend to be a chair, until one of the students actually went to Denji and was just like, hey, this pretty boy tall guy wants to go ahead and talk to you. So Denji, he goes ahead and he sees that it's Yoshida, and Yoshida is actually talking to Denji, and Yoshida was just like, hey, you dropped this during the battle of the cockroach devil, which was Denji ID. So he's like, you're doing this on purpose so that way people can actually know your identity as Chainsaw Man. And Denji was just like, duh. He was like, you can't stop me. He was like, I'm going to find a way so that way my secret can go all into the whole entire world so people can know who I am. So Yoshida is just like, so the reason why you want to reveal yourself as Chainsaw Man is because of the fact that you want a girlfriend. And Denji's just like, yes. Denji's thirstiness is to the next level, because unbelievable, this man is about to reveal himself all for a piece of booty. I just cannot believe the fact that Denji, he's going to this amount of level so that way he can be famous and that way he can get a lot of women. But of course that happened before, because in previous arcs he says all he wanted was to have sex. So the amount of length that Denji is actually going to be doing so he can get some ass is pretty much is believable. So Yoshida actually goes ahead and actually pays Denji, and he's just like, hey, pretend to be my chair. And Denji's like, nah, I ain't gonna be no chair for no dude. I got dignity. But then Yoshida put out that cash, and then Denji, he became a chair. And so as Yoshida is sitting on top of Denji, he tells Denji like, hey, I actually have a girl who is desperate to have a boyfriend. And so Denji is just like, oh, okay, word. So they all pull up on top of the rooftop, and we see Aza. Aza is just looking at Yoshida like, why you bring this fool? Why you bring this bum? And as Denji, he's trying to introduce himself, but then Yoshida's just like, oh, so I heard you got saved by the Chainsaw Man. And she's just like, pretty much. And then so Denji, he's just trying to figure out like, do she like Chainsaw Man? Because Denji, he's gonna play it off like, yeah, I'm a big fan of Chainsaw Man, he's awesome. But Aza, she's just looking at him like, of course this bum likes Chainsaw Man, like, of course. But she's just like, I don't hate Chainsaw Man, I'm morally neutral. I do have my issues with Chainsaw Man, but of course. So Denji's just like, okay, so what is the issue? And she was like, man, I don't want to talk about this because I'm just gonna start roasting him. But Denji's just like, nah, tell me your opinion, I want to hear it. So Aza, she takes like a deep breath, and then she goes ahead and she just starts roasting about Chainsaw Man, talking about his clothes and his body is always covered in blood and stuff, and he's just filthy and dirty. Denji's just like trying to save his reputation. He's just like, you know, he takes bath. Then she said, plus the Chainsaw Man comes out of his head. That thing looks so stupid and ridiculous. Like, what is going on with his brain? So Denji says that he do use his brain a lot, but then Aza, she goes ahead and she says, okay, there's this thing where he only saves women. Of course, this man is obviously desperate, gross, horny, and just sad. And Denji's just like, he has a pure heart. And then she was just like, oh, so how you know all of this stuff? Plus, people also seen him eat cats and dogs. And Denji was saying like, that's not true. He hasn't eaten cats or dogs. And then she's just like, so what's the deal with him? He doesn't eat people, but then he eats devils. And then so Denji's just like, yeah, there's no way he eating people. Well, there's just one occasion that he did ate a person, which is Maki, but he was just like, that's it. And then she was just like, okay, so how do you know about the Chainsaw Man? She was just like, do you know him? Are you him? Are you the Chainsaw Man? And then Denji's getting like really, really irritated because the fact that is that he has been roasted and that how he's just been like insulted by Aza. And then so he goes ahead and he's just like, girl, let me tell you, I'm finally going to say it. I'm finally going to tell you that I am the Chainsaw Man. And Aza, she just goes ahead and looked at him and called him a loser and looked at him as a bum, and then slowly just walk away and closing the door as she's going downstairs irritated because she wasted her time. And I can just bet Yoshida is just dying laughing at the whole interactions and everything. And Denji, he's just looking shocked and dumbfounded. He's just like, wait a minute, she's not acting surprised. She's not asking me questions friends anymore. She doesn't believe me, but I just told her like I'm Chainsaw Man, like I really am. And then Yoshida is in the background just saying like, yo, the way how you act and how your attitude is, a lot of people are not going to believe that you are Chainsaw Man. But Denji's just like, I am. And the chapter just ends. And this is just hilarious, just seeing these two going to be interacting with each other. And it's going to be really, really funny how Denji, he's trying to convince people that he is Chainsaw Man. But you see Yoshida, he's like the police. He's right there behind him, trying to make sure that he doesn't do anything. And this is just going to be an interesting dynamic. But man, this is just a real funny scene. But let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this chapter, because I really did like this chapter. If you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monto Man. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out here. Peace.